talent is important. I think them having a perspective on where they're going, where they're going, what lane are they in, they have a clear perspective on that. I look for star power. I believe they need to have at least 2 of those, star power, some form of brand. And I look more now for what kind of infrastructure do they have. Sometimes they don't have it, but if they have it, it's even better. Like if they already have a producer, they kind of got certain things going. It's easy to move it from that perspective. They got those things. Now if they need to figure those things out, then that's when you got to bring people in to kind of help you figure those things out. Social media is a big thing more now. Well, social media is a big thing more now than it was before. So for artists, it's not posting and doing what they need to do as an artist, then it's difficult for me to even like deal with it, because you can't, they're not working. That's considered work in today's time, social media, branding, and doing those things every day, not just once a month, and that's how I look at it. I look at all those boxes.
Okay, and so you're hearing it from a manager first, right? So we're actually going to go to Mary. So Mary, what do you look for in the artist when it comes to marketing and branding? Even if they're starting out early, what are some of the signs that you're looking for? Like, okay, I can work with this person. I can help them get out.
So, Industry, just to give you guys some perspective, Industry media, we actually do a little bit of the artist development. My background's in brand strategy, marketing, and licensing. Not sync or music, but on merchandise. So I've done that for 25 years. When we look at artists and who we want to invest in, whether it's resources, partnerships, bringing you to a big brand for sponsorship, we look, obviously, like you said, talent. But obviously, the art of creating your art is very important. But the one thing that I always tell artists is it is a business. And like any business, you have to treat it like a business. It's an artistic business, and there's a delicate balance. When we look at artists, for me personally, it's authenticity. With social media, like Brian said, there's a lot of artists out there that say, I'm an artist. But are you an artist that is authentic? You're not afraid to stand out and be yourself. You're not afraid to stand out and be different. You're not afraid to be, and that is, if you think about an artist, that's like, and it's mind-boggling to me, because an artist is art, whether it's music, visual, whatever. But then you go out there on social media and you look like everybody else. That's not art. That's not your authentic art. So really be true to yourself, and honor that, and don't be afraid. And the people that stick out to us when we work with independent artists, which Industry does, we work purely to elevate independent artists, is all of that, and being professional on social media, and knowing how, and that's why I love these programs, because it's a journey of educating yourself. And that delicate balance between artistic, talent, making it a business, and treating yourself like a business, and literally treating yourself like a brand. We'll talk a little bit more about that later.
Most definitely. So, Sycosis, I'm gonna get a little bit more on this art side with you when we looking.
I was ready, man.
Yeah, when we looking for what an artist needs to actually have, because. One thing that I know about Sycosis, for instance, is this man is a machine when he's in the studio. So he's literally writing 4 or 5 songs literally at the studio, but he's worked his skill to actually be able to do it. Please, ladies and gentlemen, don't try this at home. Man. If you're not ready, don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. You're going to waste a good 3 hours of money. Let's not do that. But from an art standpoint, right? what does an artist need to have in their tool belt to be able to be effective, to be able to say, I'm ready to come outside?
Well, I think first I'm a fan of art, right? And I'm a fan of the culture. So when this super talented young lady was performing, I'm listening to her lyrics, right? Them demons, leave me alone, you don't want to be pink no more. Like, I'm listening to where it got to connect, right? So as an artist and in sync, when you're doing sync licensing, and which I'm going to talk about, it's mostly through collaboration. Like, you're going to do a lot of collaboration in different sounds, different genres, different styles. So I listen for artists too. And what do they offer? What do they have to say? And how much do they understand this? Like she just said, a combination of what they both just said. We can both make a song and we understand that. But if I ask you what's your IPI number so we can register this song together and you don't know what I'm talking about, we're not gonna go nowhere. So I think I can answer the question a little bit in reverse. What are some of the things that I think I've done that have made companies want to work with me? It's a combination of one, having a catalog of music that I can describe in simple terms so I can put it in groups. I can say it's at this tempo, it's this style, it's this cadence, and I can put hashtags or words with it where it makes it easily searchable. I can give them other artists to compare it to, and I can think about it outside of myself. Because as an artist, when people say, well, who do you sound like? We all say, what? I sound like me. What you mean? But in a business, you have to be able to say, well, actually, this one's in the vein of this, and I have some that are in this cadence, and this tempo, and this BPM, and those things make brands and businesses kind of look at you a little different. And I think the second part of that question is that the professional aspect is very important. They want to see that you're organized, you do understand terms, you do understand the contracts, you are prepared, you are on time, you are professional. Your music is radio quality. You have, professional videos, whatever it is your angle that you're trying to do, that you basically have all of it except the budget. And as much of it that you can have that is realistically just like what anybody with a label would do and would have without the budget, the more likely they are to want to have a conversation and go, you know what, that's not going to be a lot of work to help this, young man and young woman to get from here to there. We don't have to reinvent the wheel with them. We just have to guide them in this direction. So I think that's the way I would answer from an artist's perspective.
Okay. And so actually going into a little bit of something that you actually talked about, which was, royalty collection, right? So if you're an artist in here, then you should have your phones out, like literally. You should be taking notes. And this is what we do in class, because if you're not taking notes, then you're not internalizing what's actually going on. Because when you start to go outside, so say for instance, when we talk about royalty collection, first things first is you need a performance rights organization, right? You need to know what BMI, you need to know what ASCAP is, you need to know what CSAC is, okay? So that's first things first, that's first line of defense, right? That's before we even get into copywriting, before we get into trademarking our names, all of that. I need to be able to have a performance rights organization first, okay? Secondly, I need to know what Song Trust actually is, right? I need to be able to collect my royalties overseas. If somebody's playing my music over in Japan, I need somebody to collect some of their publishing for me, okay? Because back in the day, what they basically would do is you had to basically mail your split sheet, which basically has everybody's information, the percentage that you actually had on there, and what your publishing is on the song. You have to mail that out across the world. It took months and months for everybody to get their royalties back. Now imagine if you made a mistake. Now you have to turn around, get that sheet back, stop everybody's money, and then turn around and correct those sheets, right? So you need to know what Song Trust actually is. You need to know what Sound Exchange is, right? Sound Exchange, being able to collect from non-terrestrial radio. Non-terrestrial radio is basically like your Pandora, okay? It's your Pandora, it's your Sirius XM radio that you can't necessarily control, right? So as we're developing the art, right, we're also, as Mary, as Chris, as Erik has said, Sycosis, we also need to develop ourselves as a business, as a brand, If you each can kind of speak to what is the value of being able to actually have a name that can actually move some things in the industry, right? What does that mean to actually have value to a name? Because everybody knows what it looks like when you got dirt on your name, right? You're not moving nowhere, you know, you're not moving nowhere. So I guess I'll start with you, Chris, first. Like, what does that mean to actually have value to your name?
So, so when you begin to get some form of credibility with the company, they start to bring you business and opportunities. They bring it to you. They want to bring you in and have you be a part of what they're doing. So what happens, sometimes you'll see people and you be like, man, they really not that good, or they not the best. You be like, man, why they getting this work or everywhere? It's because they deliver. You know, they getting money or whatever they're getting from the company, and they're giving them something they can monetize and make money with. So if you get good at that, then they're gonna keep bringing you stuff, right? And you may not be the best person in the business talent-wise, but you deliver, you bring in work. So when you do that, then they start because they looking for partners. All these companies looking for partners, but they don't want to give you, let's say, a $500,000 budget, and then you just don't deliver. You don't give nothing back. You don't turn nothing. Or if you bring something back, it's not good enough for them to do anything with. So a lot of people, like the higher up people, they are known for bringing something back. So that's why they just keep giving them work, keep giving them work, and once you label a person that don't deliver, then it's in the system. They can see, oh man, this dude had a budget over here, nothing happened. What happened with this? What happened with that? And after a while, they just stop, you know, giving you budgets. So that's the importance of, you know, building your brand, you know, staying in contact, delivering, communicating. All of that's important in staying in the system. No matter if it's a label, if it's whoever it is, you still got to give that product back.
Yeah, Larry?
Can you hear me? So you know how everybody sees the red circle everywhere, and you know it's Target?
Right.
Or the little half-eaten apple, it's Apple. So when you build your brand, it's beyond, yes, you have to have a logo and your name. That's just part of the brand. But what I said earlier about being authentic and creating a story, your authentic story, and being consistent. The value of being consistent and having your brand, your public-facing brand, be consistent with a consistent story, with a logo, maybe your style. Bruno Mars always wears his fedora hat. You know, there's a style, there's a look, there's a feel, there's a vibe to you. It is, you're showing your public, this is how they're gonna remember me. It's, you know, repetitive visuals, repetitive stories, and that's why social media and telling that story and using visuals and using the same colors and the same seamless, you know, consistent story time and time again, you start creating an imprint of you as an artist to your fans and to everybody and all the businesses. There have been times where my co-founder Errol here, she heads up operations for Indistry, and she also looks at artists, and we always tag team with our talent team to figure out who's the one to watch. And sometimes we won't remember names, but we'll be like, yeah, that girl. Like tonight, very talented. I will remember your braids, you know, and I will remember your sultry voice. And that's what I'm gonna remember. I don't even remember your name, but that's what I'm gonna remember. So yeah.
Mykah, Estelle.
So it's a value, right, for sure. Go ahead.
And Erik.
As you mentioned earlier, I'm also a real estate agent, but I'm also a real estate investor. And the brand that I've been building lately is rap and real estate, because those two things seem very different, and I've been trying to bridge how they're related, because in both cases, what we're fighting for is economic freedom. And what we're fighting for is the ability to control our own destiny, our own story. As a black man in America, I'm very aware that the average black person does not own a home, which owning a home is the single biggest signal of wealth in this country. I'm also aware, as a black man who's also a musician, that most artists don't own their songs, don't own their publishing, don't own their rights. And so those two things that seem very different, it's the same fight for me on a daily basis, and it has a lot to do with education. So I'm gonna give you guys a term that everybody in real estate uses, right? It's an acronym. That term is ROI, right? Anybody ever heard that term before? Okay, ROI. This is a very difficult thing for artists, so if you're sensitive, please leave the room. I'll come cry with you later. Your music is your music, and it's beautiful, and it's perfect, but nobody gives a shit until you make them. With that being said, from a company standpoint, as my brother Chris said next to me, the company is giving you a loan, and what they want back is a return on investment. Your music alone and your talent alone is not going to give a return on investment, because I don't know if y'all know this, the most talented people aren't the people that everybody knows. But your ability to find who's already in tune with you. Because a lot of us are kind of running in a hamster wheel trying to chase what's working for someone else. And unfortunately, we don't realize there's a whole company behind someone else. There's 50, 60, 70, 80 people behind everything you ever saw them ever post, say, sing, perform, etc. So they're not by themselves, they're just the face of a brand. If we're going to be independent artists in the face of our own brand, I think that what we have to do, besides, you know, in addition to what was already said about your imagery, your persona, and your style, is you also have to have a sense of what do I have to do to make the music that I want to make and not compromise my talent, while also increasing the valuability of the company known as your artist name. Whatever your artist name is, that is a company. And you should treat it as such, literally. You should franchise it, make it an LLC, file your taxes with it. You should literally get business loans with it, open bank accounts with it. That's a company, and you have to treat it as such. And any other company, because as artists we will do this, we will go broke just to say we made an album that we don't even put out. If that was a company, that would be a bad investment. So as your music, don't do that. Everything you make and everything you do and everything you spend should find a way to make more money for you, to give yourself another chance to go further next time.
He said it himself.
Absolutely.
Can we clap on that? Most definitely. Yeah. But so I want to boil this down real quick from what everybody said to make sure we simplify, right? So first things first, artists should be asking themselves is, who am I, right? What do I stand for? What are my interests that I actually want to show that has something to do with what my name is? And therefore, from that, build a mission statement. Everything that I do from that point out should follow that mission statement, because that mission statement is going to be a part of my brand. That mission statement is going to be a part of my marketing also as well. Therefore, my social media should reflect what my mission statement is. If it does not reflect my mission statement, then that means people are going to be confused about what I'm bringing to the table, right? So artists, make sure we are breaking this down to be able to understand it and simplify it. Don't make it too complicated for yourself, right? Your mission statement should be the thing that leads you at all times. When you feel like things aren't necessarily moving the way you want it to move, when you feel like you don't know the right people, you refer back to that mission statement. Because that mission statement is going to let you know when you ain't working. That mission statement is going to let you know when you haven't networked and talked to enough people. That mission statement is going to tell you when you need to be writing, when you need to be in the studio, right? So your name and your mission statement should be able to be at the forefront, because your mission statement represents your name. And then your name influences what your mission statement actually is. So they go hand in hand, okay? So, I'm actually having fun up here.
He's a great teacher.
You know, and that's the thing. I want to make sure that we're bringing joy to what it is that we do, because it's nothing like doing something that you don't like doing. It's nothing like having a job that you don't like working, right? So in order to get to what it is that I want to do, I need to be able to build real actionable plans around what it is that I want to do and go after that, right? Now, there also entails a grind, right? I have to work for everything that I get. So just because that I like it, it does not mean that I'm also going to enjoy every step of it, right? So in going and transitioning into that, I will ask my panelists, and you know, we can start off with Mary first. What are some of the trials that you've gone through to be able to put